and talk to him and hopefully have him just pull over. And right now I don't see the police doing anything real radical at this point, because right now there's nobody in danger if you watch this.
Do you believe that people are being kept off of this freeway? I'm still somewhat astonished by the light traffic there on this Friday night.
You know what, I missed that. You were blocked by another radio. Could you say again?
Ron, I was saying, do you think perhaps that motorists are being kept off that freeway because I'm astonished at the light level of traffic on this Friday night? It's very unusual.
You know, it is unusually light traffic out here. We're looking all the way westbound, and we can see almost up to the 605, and it continues light like this all the way up towards that 605 freeway.
We were talking about what options we have. We have to keep in mind, Ron, that
law enforcement. It's very difficult for us to tell. I don't know how much tighter filtering that we have here, but and he says that's as tight as we can go right now. So from our vantage point, we cannot tell exactly how many are in the vehicle at all.
Again, all this is presumption now. It's apparent that the police believe it.
Well,
and
it's
that
not
is
great.
Calvin's car, and that Simpson is in the driver's seat. We've received a report of a gun in the car. The car is heading north, which would be toward Los Angeles. We picked it up in Orange County. The vehicle is registered to Al Cowling, a former teammate, close friend of O.J. Simpson, who has been a fugitive from justice now almost 12 hours. certain that O.J. is in the passenger seat.
Pat, we're just now crossing the 605
California
at the
Highway
911, so we're starting to get up into the Long Beach area, actually northeast Long Beach.
Again, O.J. appears to be holding a gun to his head.
Well, David, the 405 is not too much farther than the 51, and it's not really much of a major one to Long Beach or the 710 freeway. The 110 freeway. And then after that, you hit the 405. So, at this point, we really have no idea which, or where the final destination may be for reporting the citizens on this white truck.
You are listening to KCLL's coverage. There's an anchor
have that information right now. Apparently
certainly
it's not
not
a high-speed pursuit. The location is, it looks like it's westbound SR91 and perhaps Atlantic, I believe.
Okay, we're just told now, officer, that it's west of 605, westbound on the 91 freeway.
I see, okay.
This is really a case, as it has been in so many of these pursuits on Southern California freeway.
No LA built. That was the all-point bulletin that was issued for O.J. Simpson. They now have him very much in...
abreast of where they are and what the situation is, and for the time being, everyone seems...
All right, if you can turn... Vince, if you can turn down your television set.
Just give yourself up, man. Just stop. Please stop. In Jesus' name, just stop, man. We love you, man.
Vince Evans, we thank you for joining us. How long have you been watching here? Have you been watching for most of the last half hour or so? And your thoughts about what his mental state might be? To be doing something like this certainly isn't the O.J. you know.
But I know he's been under a lot, and a lot of pressure, and I'm sure that he's feeling like the world is against him right now, but like myself, and I'm sure so many other people, he's ready to love, man. He knew how much people would care for him, because I know that he's just feeling like everything is going against him right now, but he's not doing himself any good by just proceeding like this. And I just want him to know how much he's loved, how much he's loved.
Vince, you go back a long way with O.J. Simpson, your college playing days. You've known him for many, many years. Tell us your feelings about O.J. and what you know of him, what the man he is.
Enough about this man. Epitomize everything with Jim Hill. Eloquent, eloquently talked about it, and just in terms of being a role model, just in terms of him being a class guy, instilling, classic qualities in individuals everywhere he went. He always handled himself like a gentleman. And, I just can't say enough about it.
As we're watching here, Vince, we're seeing a car that's been pulling up and pulling back, and now we see the white Bronco take off at a speed that's considerably faster than it's been driving before.
We can't identify that other car that has apparently been playing some form of tag with the Bronco there. Don't know that it's, obviously there's some kind of an official vehicle, but we don't know what it is.
But look at the people standing on the freeway there, waving.
There are a number of people standing on the side of the road. It's just the curious and also well-wishers. We watch people wave and blow kisses as Mr. Simpson drives by.
Which is to continue with our coverage of this basketball game, and that means at this portion of the telecast, before the resumption of the game, the start of the third quarter, to bring you this interview, which I did yesterday with Pat Riley. It has been a 3-year process for Pat in New York, and now the pursuit of the championship.
We've taken to Parker Center and a book on the outstanding warrant. The Ford Bronco right now is continuing to move through very... that the on-ramps have been blocked off. Law enforcement is leapfrogging. And as we go through one jurisdiction to another...
near the 110 freeway. And it's interesting to note the time. This started apparently around 6:45, a little bit after the main part of rush hour. Authorities, though, are attempting to clear the freeway, although you can see a car right there going up right next to the Bronco. Not an easy job clearing the freeway. O.J. Simpson formally charged today with 2 counts of murder. He was supposed to surrender at 11 o'clock today. Basically, his attorney turned his back and O.J. managed to get away apparently with his good friend Al Calhoun. Now we have a little bit of an update. This is off the Associated Press wire, the Reuters wire. According to someone who is monitoring police scanners, the man in the car says he would not give himself up. He's in the back of the vehicle. He has a gun to his head, and he says he will hurt himself. He is demanding to be taken to his mother. Now that apparently is information off
Amanzi scanner, according to the Reuters newswire. We continue to watch Sky 11, 1993 Ford Bronco. We do know that this is the vehicle that belongs to Al Cowlitz, former pro football player himself, a longtime friend of O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson, when he was preparing to surrender this morning, to be picked up by LAPD at Texas Park Center, wrote 3 notes, one to his mother, one to his family, and one that his attorney and a friend of his, read this afternoon at the attorney's office in Century City. And to listen to that note, it sounded very much like a farewell goodbye to O.J. Simpson. He said that he basically thought he had done what was right all his life and wanted to be remembered for that. He asked the media to leave his kids alone and for all of us to remember him for what he had did.
He also proclaimed his innocence in that note. He said, quote, "First, everyone understand I had nothing to do with Nicole's murder. He went on to say, if we had a problem, it's because I loved her so much. Don't feel sorry for me. Thanks for making my life special. I hope I helped yours. Peace and love, O.J." His attorney had said that he'd been extremely depressed. He was under the care of doctors. One friend is quoted as saying he had never seen O.J. Simpson so low.
The vehicle, we believe, with Al Cowlitz and O.J. Simpson in it, and it looks like the emergency flashers are going on that Bronco. That's the first time we've had sort of this view of the vehicle. And it is going westbound again. It appears where the sun is hitting the front of the vehicle, although it's a little bit difficult to tell because they have made a transition from one freeway to another. And there you see just a huge number of police cars. CHP, Orange County Sheriff, LAPD, presumably Los Angeles County Police Department as well as LA County Sheriff's cars, all respectful distance behind, just waiting, hopefully, for this to play itself out peacefully without any further loss of life and any more damage and destruction. On the phone now we have psychiatrist Dr. Tom Linden. Dr. Tom, can you hear me? At this point, we have reports that O.J. Simpson is in this vehicle. One report says he has a gun pointed to his head, says he will not be taken alive, and wants to be taken to see his mother. At this point, what would you deduce psychiatrically from those comments?
Well, I can't obviously. Many people are out here, either on the freeway or on the bridges, on the overpasses, just to catch a glimpse of the situation as it goes by.
So people have actually come to watch, after watching this live shot, they come to see it for themselves, you're saying, Ron?
State. What part, Doctor, does the fellow driving the car, his old friend, play in this now?
Well, I think in many ways the key, and I think his friend Vince is the key. What O.J. has to know is that he's not being abandoned. He's not all alone. He's very angry at all that's happened to him, but he has to know that he's not being abandoned. In my
first time, one of his clients has skipped, and he skipped in a big way this morning.
And keep in mind, as you see some of these pictures, that they are being tracked by live equipment from helicopters, from cars. There's going to be some breakup in that video as they continue to try to follow the police chase of the Bronco with O.J. Simpson in it. So there will be some video breakup, but that's just very normal.
You can watch. We will continue to monitor TNBC for further developments, and we'll bring you those throughout the course of the evening, and of course, we wrap up tonight on Q Live News at 11 o'clock.
Third quarter.
And the helicopter, obviously the reason the helicopter has gotten out of pattern here is there are commercial flights coming in and out of that airport. And you can't apparently, because if you're landing in LA, as those people do, they always land from the east. They will go right over the 405, so they've obviously steered this helicopter to be out of position of not hitting the passenger plane. There you see the tip of the helicopter outside the cameras. Again, the car continues to travel. Trailed by California Highway Patrol. We understand that Dr. Michael Baden can hear us. How are you, Michael?
Hi, Larry. Sorry to be talking to you
at this time.
Yeah, Michael is an old friend. He's the famed forensic pathologist for New York City for many, many years. One of the foremost people in his field. I know you're not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, Michael, but you were with O.J. today. Can you tell us?
Now it appears they've moved past some of those dangerous areas with planes taking off and landing, and they have a pretty good view again of O.J. Simpson in the lead car, the Bronco. The highway is clearing. Some people stopping as they see and hear the police vehicles coming. Many people stopping simply to take a look at what is happening. This story
shot that is coming closer, and while it is closer, we're still not able to discern
another angle was
in the back. It would appear that they have their
flashing lights on the distress lights. Lights you use when you pull over to alert fellow motorists that you're having trouble.
Pushing along this freeway without much problem at all.
Interesting to see what is going to develop here in the next 5 minutes or so. Currently approaching the 405 interchange northbound.
So you're right here that you bring Santa Monica freeway, and it looks as though the car is proceeding at, what would you estimate, 40, 45 miles an hour?
Yeah, approximately that speed is between 35 and 45 miles an hour, I would estimate.
Okay, and from the I-10 interchange up to Sunset Boulevard is only going to be maybe 3 or 4 minutes more.
Oh, most definitely.
In the next 60 seconds or so.
Yes, the off-ramps are quite wide. It appears that a good number of people are pulled on the right shoulder and are out of their vehicles watching this procession proceed up the 405 freeway here. It's in this area it's becoming more prevalent that people are stopped alongside the road and are watching this as it passes them by.
What off-ramp are you coming up on now? You should be approaching pretty close to Wilshire Boulevard, aren't you?
Coming up on Santa Monica Boulevard at this time,
right.
And that off-ramp is not blocked, and the vehicle is still in the far left lane, continuing northbound.
Let's mention to our viewers that there are only 3 off-ramps now remaining if he's going to go to that Brentwood estate. There's one coming up on Wilshire, which are probably approaching now.
That's affirmative, Al.
Okay, and then right after that, probably another 30 to 40 seconds will be at Waterford. See if he turns off on Waterford, but he's in the left lane.
Yes, left lane, currently left lane. I see other traffic there with the vehicle. The left lane and the other traffic are pulling off to the right shoulder at this time, ahead of the vehicle.
Okay, now it's crucial to see if he starts moving over to the right lane.
It doesn't appear that will be the case due to the number of vehicles blocking the right lanes.
Craig, Eric Stillman is right there at the intersection of Sunset and the 405. Eric, can you read us? Go ahead and tell us what you see.
Well, first of all, we're just coming up. We're going north on the 405. We're coming to Sunset Boulevard right now. And I can tell you that I've seen CHP officers stopping people from getting onto the 405. The southbound 405, as you know, is a parking lot with everybody stopped and out of the cars looking, waiting for this change to come. But the Sunset Boulevard off-ramp is open, and it appears that they think that he might get off here.
Moving over to the right, which means he may take that Sunset Boulevard
Attention restaurant
off-ramp.
customers.
He's now moving over to the right lane. Craig, are we approaching Sunset Boulevard now? Okay, we're approaching Sunset Boulevard.
There's a crowd of people who are on the bridge here watching as he approaches the Sunset Boulevard.
All right, Eric. Eric, it appears now as though he is getting. As I recall, there are 2 lanes on the Sunset Boulevard off-ramp. He is in one of them, and that's the lane he would be using. Looks like he's getting off.
Okay, Hal, it looks like he is getting off at the off-ramp at Sunset.
Right. Okay.
Getting off, he's on the off-ramp now, coming up the off-ramp at Sunset. Lots of people at the overpass at Sunset, and possibly here will be a westbound turn en route to Brentwood.
That's right.
Looks like he's in the left lane now.
Yeah.
Making a left turn. The intersection's free and clear, and now making his left turn westbound on Sunset.
All right. He must have gone right by you, Eric.
Well, he hasn't. We're staying ahead of it. We're going through his mansion patrol officers following them, as well as regular private citizens on motorcycles who are following this chase now. And we're right behind them.
Now, how far behind the Bronco are you, Eric?
I'd say we're less than a mile behind.
Okay.
What's going to happen is that street, Rockingham, is a very, very narrow street. It's going to be interesting to see how that's going to work when he tries to make that right turn onto Rockingham and go up towards his mansion. The mansion itself is about a mile or so up Rockingham on the right-hand side.
Yeah, that's right, Eric. And also, once again, continue to speculate, it will be interesting to see if he is allowed to go into the mansion itself or whether he will be stopped short of it.
That's a good question.
The Los Angeles County Sheriff and California Highway.
Entire scenario of getting off the freeway, and I'm telling you, I'm looking at this along with you. I think that's Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, it looks like that. The trees in the way, so we figure on it.
So moving up into the Brentwood area where OJ has had a home for quite some time, and also the home of his late wife, Nicole Brown Simpson. Again, police are in pursuit. They have not closed in. It's been going on about an hour and 15 minutes. They have kept their distance. They have been following diligently, but they have not made any effort to rail OJ's vehicle. There's no effort to pull up the side. Again, based on his investigations, it will appear that he is in fact trying to leave his neighborhood, if you will. Driveway. He has driven all the way. There's somebody coming up the side. A bit of a scuffle gun to his head, and obviously he's threatening suicide. Mr. Callan, as he has done since this drive began an hour and 15 minutes ago, has been waving everybody off and telling them to stay back.
The phone, when talking to other people, perhaps law enforcement, it's very, very difficult to figure out just what the next move is going to be.
Craig, what do you see from up there in the your pilot's position?
Well, Stan, we've got the vehicle in the driveway with flashers on. Someone approached the vehicle initially, and then believed the security guards or police officers pulled them away from the vehicle. And right now, it's just it's a waiting game, it looks like.
Where are the law enforcement officers? Can you see them around? Are they all outside?
It looked like they came out of the house, or were in the house and came out of the house, and then went back into the house. At this point in time, I do not see too many law enforcement people in and around the vehicle. However, that's not to say they could be close proximity to the house and the vehicle around the grounds.
Craig, let me recommend that we stay right on your position there, because I have a feeling that the car didn't just drive in there to sit there, that something is happening right now. I would suspect there's some kind of communication, cellular communication between a cell phone and either the house or law enforcement in that area, some kind of negotiation.
The officers are inside ready to pull him back, like they knew he was coming.
They were aware he was coming. The situation now, Linda, is what to do.
Very tense. If they knew he was coming there, though, there may be some situation where he is, said he will surrender or something like that.
We also know that he has a cellular phone there, and the Los Angeles Police Department has some very excellent psychologists on their staff, people who are crisis counselors, if you will, and that is a definite possibility that they are trying to make contact with O.J. On the telephone. I have no evidence that there's a phone being passed to the back of that Bronco, but it would appear to me that they are making that effort, maybe talking to Al Cowlings, that they would like to talk to O.J. and tell him that it would be in his best interest to put that gun down and to step out of that vehicle with his hands in the air.
If I were to guess, based on the information we've been able to patch together here at Parker Center, they definitely knew where he was going about 10 minutes ago when he was still on.
In altitude, we certainly want to cooperate in that respect, not endanger anybody. And as we say, we hope that this will end peaceably, but we'll see what happens here. We'll stay on that Ford and see what happens. But I do suspect that there are negotiations going on right now.
And the fact that the officers of the scene have kind of stayed the other side of the wall, there's no one rushing or standing around, it's just the white car sitting there in the courtyard.
Yeah, I think his motivation, he said, was to see his mother, who was at the estate, and perhaps the children. Now, the children may not be there, we don't know that. Maybe they're being brought there, and there may be some kind of negotiation that perhaps if he could see his mother and the children, make some statement perhaps, or talk to them, that maybe then there would be a surrender to the police. Did you gain altitude? Are you up at...
Yes, Hal, we sure did. We're about 2,100 feet above the scene. That's sea level, which puts us up about 1,500 feet above the ground.
We still have an excellent picture, and we can see everything going on at that point, Craig.
Yes, that's an excellent vantage point from this location. As you can see, as details develop here, we should be able to see quite clearly what will take place.
O.J. Simpson wrote a letter to his children and to his mother and then to his friends. And his attorney...
Yeah, that letter was read this afternoon, and what it did was to proclaim his innocence. He claimed that he was innocent innocent of the charges of murder in the first degree, 2 counts of murder in the first degree, with special circumstances. I think it's just a matter now of waiting to see. Do you see any other law enforcement activity in the area, Craig, as you look down?
Yes, as you can see on the perimeter road here, there is quite a number of vehicles that were in the pursuit with the Bronco. They have all positioned themselves around the house, and I suspect that there are quite a number of officers surrounded the house at this time.
There were evidently officers inside the house also.
Yes, that's what appeared. As we came up, someone approached the vehicle initially and was pulled away from the vehicle by what it looked like
from justice. Well, he is not a fugitive in one respect anymore. We know where he is, and he is up. You know, there was speculation he might be out of the country, maybe hiding someplace. That is not the case anymore. That situation has now changed. O.J. Simpson is back at his home. This is not a friendly home, secondary home. This is his primary residence. And there he has been all day. It's difficult to speculate. He's out in the valley and down in Orange County. And now he's come back up to the San Diego Freeway and has come home again. I doubt that he will be leaving again. Police now know where he is. They found him. The door is open and investigate what happened.
Midnight on the side. Midnight on the side. Midnight on the side. Midnight on the side.
At least one other person in that vehicle. Is that correct?
At this point, I from the information that I've gathered up to this point, it appears that someone
came
just approached back to the vehicle and entered the vehicle. Let's do.
Because it was a man dressed in black. That very well could have been
the Brentwood home here of O.J. Simpson, only about 10 minutes ago after being
found. Thank you to KTLA.
When they pulled off the freeway
from this aerial shot, it looks like that man is bulkier and stockier than O.J. Simpson is. But they are pretty much, they're both big men. But that is the man who got out the driver's side door. We presume that to be Al Cowlings, who was driving. We're not sure at this point in that 911 call whether it was Al Cowlings who said that O.J. Simpson had a gun to his head, or whether it was O.J. Simpson himself saying that he had a gun to his head. One can assume, I think, rather safely that Al Cowlings is having a conversation at this point with somebody inside that vehicle, that someone, presumably O.J. Simpson, perhaps this is the conversation between two longtime friends that will resolve this odyssey this afternoon, this evening, without any more violence, without any more bloodshed.
This is just one of two different vehicles that authorities have been searching for today. They had also put out an all-points bulletin for Simpson. They were searching for this white Ford Bronco that belongs to Cowlings, and also Simpson's black Mercedes. There's been no sign of that whatsoever. So it appears if the two are in this vehicle...
Now, Al Cowlings, we believe that to be Al Cowlings, holding his hand up, his palm up, perhaps toward the police officers behind him, pointing toward the front door to O.J. Simpson's home, obviously having a conversation with someone inside at this point. Now, unfortunately, now Al Cowlings is the man we believe to be Al Cowlings, obscured by that.
But as you can see, obviously they're negotiating and talking
to
police officers that are in the house back to the vehicle. So it appears that someone else is definitely in the vehicle.
Yes.
And there's an intermediary there discussing things with the police.
They were gesturing toward something behind, in the back or toward the rear of the property there.
Okay, here's I believe a man is pleading to negotiate with people here, the police obviously, and it's obviously very stressful down there from the pictures that you can see. gentleman.
He's quite upset at the moment.
Quite emotional here, which would seem to dictate the stressfulness of the situation, and hopefully this type of situation would not escalate into something a little more dramatic.
Both of the officers
appear to be calming the individual down and reassuring him that things are safe.
Well, there's no doubt, as we mentioned before, that O.J. is in a particularly agitated state of mind. That is, I think, is a truism. Consequently, what goes on from here on is very difficult to ascertain. I would suspect also that his lawyer is going to be involved in these negotiations also. But it does appear, this once again is just guessing, that O.J. is still in that vehicle, probably on the passenger side. That seems to be a fairly logical deduction, I think, because the person who got out is doing some kind of negotiation or talking rather than dealing with law enforcement. And talking to somebody in the car.
Yeah, most definitely, that's what it appears to be.
Hal, Eric Spillman now is live on the grounds of the house. Let's switch to him right now. Eric?
Well, Stan and Hal, unfortunately, we can't see as well from our vantage point as you can from yours. We are about, I'd say 500 yards away from the driveway where the drama is all taking place. As you can see, there's a line of black and whites, Highway Patrol, Orange County Sheriffs, and LAPD patrol cars with their lights flashing all the way back down towards Rockingham.
And Eric, let me just mention, it looks as though something is going to happen right now. The person in the car just moved toward the entrance of the doorway.
And Hal, Stu Nahan just called in and identified the gentleman standing there in the courtyard. It is Hal Collins.
Yeah, it is a professional football player. His best friend.
Played ball at SC with O.J. and he was the man driving the car. He was also the man with O.J. Simpson at the house in San Fernando Valley.
Right. Now, he's backed away from the vehicle, the LAPD, inside the house. I would think that what you're going to see is, once again, we're speculating, but I would suspect that O.J. is in that vehicle and will probably come out of that vehicle. He didn't come all this way to sit in the car.
Everyone at the scene, I know everyone hoping for a peaceful solution to this entire scenario.
Jan, he's standing right out in the open. There are two police officers just inside the door.
At least two, maybe lots more.
Two that we've seen at this point, yeah.
And then he had his hands moving in a very emotional manner, what they were saying.
Right, it was unclear who he was speaking to, whether he was speaking to law enforcement officials, perhaps, there by the wall, or maybe even neighbors, bystanders who were there. It's hard to tell from this point. But at one point, yes, he was very emotional.
The picture acting up a little bit here, but they'll have that stabilized.
Yeah, that only lasts for a couple of seconds. The noise in the picture. But, so Al is now going back to the vehicle.
Critical, as we pointed out before, is the fact that they believe that any type of intrusion, especially by the media, could trigger a confrontation, could trigger something to happen. If you look ahead of me here, I'm not sure if our photographer can get a shot here, but Steve, you can pan off to the right, you can pan right, Steve.
Al, I think we're going to stay with our helicopter picture. If you just describe for us what you're seeing. Okay, now we've got a split screen. We can see what you're talking about, Al.
As I said, nothing
Okay, Al, to just update you and the rest of our viewers, the man.
This is Larry King in Washington at CNN Studios, staying atop the this scene for you now through Fox 11. We have just been told that 2 photographers who tried to run across the lawn have been arrested by the police. We have affirmed that Al Collins is apparently negotiating. He was the driver of the car, long-term Simpson friend and teammate at USC. There are police in the doorway. This is the driveway to the O.J. Simpson house in Brentwood. He's driven through 2 counties, and we followed him all the way. That's a police car behind him, and O.J. is in the car apparently. Collins is now either by the door. Let's go back to Channel 5's coverage, KTLA.
Cowlings there now, isn't it, with facing to the left of our screen?
In the dark phase,
Clean up the juice, save the juice. A lot of these people came by on motorcycles. They followed the police motorcade that followed Simpson to his residence, and they parked their motorcycles, some cars, and they're gathering here, trying to show their support for Simpson as a standoff is taking place just about 500 yards in front of them right now. All of them very enthusiastic, hopeful that O.J. Simpson will emerge from the car safe and be taken into custody safely. That's what they're saying right now.
It's reminiscent of a movie I saw years ago. I think it was called Dog Day Afternoon with, if I remember correctly, Al Pacino, and a crowd gathered outside somewhere, and they were outside a bank, and they were chanting. I don't know if they were chanting Attica or whatever they were chanting, but this is reminiscent of that sometimes.
It's strange to say that. It's strange to say that, Harold, because right now this crowd is chanting juice, juice.
Very, very bizarre situation here. Our television camera undoubtedly is sparking.
We're concerned. There's too much problems in Los Angeles. We want to see O.J. free. Well, I see people actually climbing up the hillside. It looks like these are people's yards. Trying to circumvent the police line, circumvent the roadblock, and try to get a better look. Fathers bringing their children, bringing their home video cams. This is really quite a scene.
Well, it is quite a scene, and we, according to your information earlier, are waiting for a crisis negotiating team to come online.
Keep in mind as we watch this now, darkness is beginning to set in on the west side at almost 8:25 on this Friday night, and it's going to be interesting to see if law enforcement people there bring in lights and illuminate the vehicle, the Bronco that O.J. Simpson is in right now. But for our standpoint, we ask you to stay with us. Nightfall, it causes us problems. Our cameras are high-tech as they can be, and they can operate at a very low light level, but as you can see, the light is dropping rapidly. But the situation is that they are waiting for crisis negotiators, and there are a minimum of 4 people in the entryway to O.J. Simpson's home, about halfway up the screen right now. They have been talking back and forth without challenge to the driver of this car up to Reynolds County, the man who fled the home today where O.J. Simpson was with his attorney. And no, the last time I saw him, he got back into the vehicle. And I raised the possibility that this could be a hostage.
But I think above and beyond making so much noise, police cannot hear their conversation with O.J. Simpson. He's using a cellular telephone, apparently from inside that white Bronco that you can barely see in the lower portion of the right-hand side of your screen. There's an unconfirmed report that O.J. Simpson is asking to speak to his mother. There is a hostage negotiator at work at the scene, and we're monitoring the situation. We'll have a live special report for you just moments from now.
Family members, Simpson family members, obviously distraught, pushing and shoving the members of the media who were trying to cover the story. They were not allowed to pass the crime case initially, but they got in the media and said, there's another distraught neighbor. A woman who was just seeing Simpson and the driver pull in front of the family home here just about an hour ago.
Up to date on new information that we've just received. O.J. Simpson's attorney, Futuro, has arrived at the scene. When he last worked with Futuro, it was at a news conference during the 5 o'clock eyewitness news here on Channel 7, and his opening comment was, O.J., please surrender. During the course of his recount,
We did hear a few moments ago from Bob Curry, a fine reporter for CBS television. He said that the Los Angeles Police Department does have a number of top-notch people
Everywhere I look and everywhere I go. Say what, say what, say what?